It's official. 8 passengers is no longer. But that doesn't mean their children are in the clear and safe from the embarrassment this channel has caused them. In the last year, parents Ruby and Kevin have been called out for exploiting their children and sharing deeply personal elements of their life online for millions of people to see. There's countless videos on the internet of people criticizing Ruby's parenting, especially for videos where she shared punishments like letting her kids be hungry, taking their beds away, sending one child to a wilderness behavioral camp. It's a lot, and it's frustrating and hard to watch. Due to the backlash Ruby and Kevin have received, they pulled back from their YouTube channel, and I discussed this a ton on my channel with you guys that they've stopped vlogging. And instead, the two have been participating in a parenting advice seminar. It's a page called Connections. Ruby and a woman named Jody also have a Facebook group called Moms of Truth. They do connections together. They make little videos on YouTube. They also post on Facebook this parenting advice. A lot of stuff from their Facebook page has recently also been exposed. A lot of people have been coming to them asking for help with their children or their family members, and it's just very clear where they stand on a lot of topics, and it doesn't sit right with people. And just because her kids are not in the videos of her parenting advice doesn't mean that it saved her children any sort of embarrassment, because she's continued to talk about her kids' lives further in these parenting advice videos, including videos of her crying on camera about the music her children have been exposed to in school.
You are introducing them to the world.
And people just feel like, that's so embarrassing. Why are you doing that? They've been extremely vocal about their opinions about things and are constantly talking about principles of truth. That is something that is constantly talked about on their platforms. A lot of their advice has been criticized for being harsh, anti-LGBTQ+, cult-like, and just plain whack. As Ruby has gone deeper and deeper into this new social media path, she has grown farther apart from her own family. Her siblings have said that she separated herself from their once extremely close family, and she is the only sibling that has done this in her family, and she is saying that she's focusing on her kids and her husband and this advice group. A lot of people have speculated that this group is the reason why she separated herself from her family, because a lot of the advice that they give on their Facebook page is to not really be around people that don't actively seek out principles of truth. And if they are not seeking out principles of truth, then they probably don't need to be in your life. That's pretty much what they've been telling people. And that's why people believe she is not talking to her family anymore, because they are not going by these same rules of life that she has recently really gotten into. Because Ruby's always been strict as a parent, but recently her beliefs have really taken over. And I said in my last video about them that there was a clip of Ruby from a couple years ago where she says she never wants beliefs or anything like that to come between her and her kids and her family.
I just don't want to tear a relationship apart over it. I've seen members of families stop talking to each other for decades because they didn't agree on a value. And I just think that's so sad, and I don't ever want that to happen in my house. I want my children to always feel comfortable coming to me. If they grow up believing something different, I still want them to come to the dinner table, and I still want to, let's just talk. Let's just have a mother-son relationship or a mother-daughter relationship, whatever that looks like for you.
But now she's out here giving advice being like, if you don't want to go to church, then you're not welcome in this family. You're not welcome in this household. You can leave.
Living in this home, which I provide, this is my home, and we go to church on Sundays to give thanks for that. And if you choose not to abide by the expectations of this household, then you are in effect saying, I don't want to be part of this household. And that would be your choice. And you are welcome to leave.
Which is not what she was saying in the beginning, that if you have different values, that's okay. Suddenly she doesn't believe those things anymore. Now this week, Ruby decided to take to her Instagram to share that she is no longer going to be using the 8 Passengers name. She has now changed her Instagram name to a Moms of Truth instead of 8 Passengers Ruby. She's also going to be focusing on this and not posting her kids.
So a lot of you are going, wait a minute, I thought this is 8 Passengers. How come the name changed?
She touches on why she's leaving 8 Passengers behind and addresses what other people have been saying about her in the recent years.
I have spent the last 2 years really thinking about what I wanted to do, the direction I wanted to take with my social media. And here's the reality. I have made my content around my children for years, and my children are getting older. Before you know it, in a handful of years, all of my children will be gone. And I have a real powerful message. And I started my vlog because I love mothers. I started the hashtag Mothers Are Powerful many years ago. And I have every year, I mean, just like most moms out there, I have grown in wisdom, I've learned, I have shifted and changed, and I have so much to offer other moms.
In this, she claims that in the last 2 years, her family has had a lot of healing because of Principles. And she even admits that her family was very sick. And by that sick, not like actually ill, she means that there was an issue going on within the family.
Being a mother of 6 children for 20 years teaches a woman a lot. And I have been very aware of what has made our family sick. And I am also very aware of what has brought healing. And in the last 2 years, we've had a lot of healing. And that is what I want to share. It's all been done through Principles.
And it's interesting that in the last 2 years that her beliefs have intensified and her family, like her parents and her siblings, have been cut off from her life. So it's honestly just sad that this new way of life has taken her away from that she's seeing it as a miracle that her family is seeing like Principles of Truth, and they've got this sickness out of their life. Is she calling her family members like what was sick within her family? That's like a lot right there. She then discusses child exploitation and says she's not going to share her family anymore like she was.
Now, I am very aware of people online who hate me, who would like to cancel me, who would like to see me either burn, as I have been told, or disappear off the face of the earth. And I'm not going anywhere. The world has very many people have accused me of exploiting my children, and then those very people have turned around and exploited my children. I can't post a picture or a story about my children without it being exploited. And so I am not going to share my children or family with the world anymore in that way. I'm going to be podcasting, sharing stories.
She says she's still going to tell stories about them, which we have all seen that even her just telling stories about her kids has led to tons of embarrassment. So with her whole Instagram changed, she went on to explain what exactly Principles are, because people that have followed her might not know that she has taken this extreme change of path in life. It says, what are Principles? We live in such a large world with so much to learn and comprehend that the human family likes to compartmentalize information for easier consumption. We spend so much of our time learning about the physical world that governs our eating, breathing, and immediate needs that often we neglect the principles that govern our emotional and relational world. Principles govern everything from photography, focus, aperture, light, speed, to taking a shower, water flow, direction, volume, pressure, drainage. When something goes awry, the solution is always found in a principle being neglected. Always. Relationships work inside Principles too. This is wonderful news because that means we can go back to Principles to heal those relationships. Honesty, responsibility, and humility are the fundamental building blocks of being connected to self and others. Hashtag moms are powerful. Hashtag moms of truth. Hashtag principles of truth. Hashtag choose joy. Hashtag create joy. I don't know how she's saying to like choose joy and create joy when she's like super not supportive of the LGBTQ plus community. Like, if you're gonna say that you want people to choose joy, then you should let people love who they love, but that's just me. Anyway, a longer explanation that followed all of this was her posting a ton more of underlined and circled things that have to do with principle of truth. Understanding the principles that govern our emotional welfare allow us the freedom to experience connection. Living principles of connection allow us to feel loved, whole, needed and accepted, worthy and fulfilled. When we don't understand principles that govern relationships, it is to our detriment and others' detriment. Someone who does not understand and utilize these principles will inevitably experience self-doubt, anxiety, depression, fear, compulsivity, addiction, resentment, and anger. That's right, because how could I forget? If you have anxiety or you're depressed, all you have to do is seek truth, guys. Come on now, seek that truth. Ruby's giving the best advice here. You guys know I'm kidding, right? Because like, what the? In relationships, there are also principles that are universal truths. These are not religious in origin, though often adopted and endorsed by religious sects. Principles are eternal and have been reality long before religions were formed. They are universal. The base principles that govern our relationships with ourselves and others are honest, responsible, and humble. Other principles build on top of these, such as meekness, gratitude, forgiveness, compassion, patience, modesty, charity service, and hard work. In the biology sphere, there are principles that govern life. These principles include reproduction, cellular regeneration, nutrition, photosynthesis, pollination, DNA, and gender. Understanding cellular composition and life cycles allow us the freedom to produce life-engineered fruits and trees and foods. We gain life, growth, and regeneration and joy when we understand and live within these laws. In the mathematical world, there are principles of trigonometry, calculus, algebra, arithmetic. Some of those principles would include the law of sine, the law of cosines, derivatives, and basic 2 + 2 = 4. Understanding these principles helps us as humans to calculate, predict, and live harmoniously with the universe. In the physical world, there are principles of gravity, mass, force, acceleration, Newton's law, evaporation, condensation, refracting of light in a prism. These are laws that we as humans in the physical world are bound to. When we understand these universal laws, we can then use them to benefit others, ourselves, and others. When we don't understand them and we try to defy them, it is to our detriment. Principles are laws and truths that govern the universe. So guys, do you feel like you've seen the truth now that you guys know what it all means? It makes me sad because I used to watch Ellie and Jared's channel a really long time ago, and that is Ruby's sister and her husband. And I used to watch them before they even had kids because they had this whole channel where they were talking about their infertility journey, and well, they always shared how close their family was and that they were always getting together. They all lived relatively close to each other. They loved to like watch each other's kids and go on big family camping trips. And it just sucks that this has seemingly come between her and her family. And her family has been super open about it. They're on social media and they're talking about how, you know, Kevin and Ruby have decided to pull away because of the beliefs. And if she's looking down on her parents because they don't believe in this, that's just so sad. Especially when she once didn't want anything like this to come between her family. So this whole thing sucks. I mean, you know, I hope that she can rekindle things with her family again. I mean, you know, as much as I don't believe in the things that she's believing or, you know, support the things that she is preaching or posting of her family, at the end of the day, like, this family has been torn apart, and I really hope that they find their way back to each other. So that's what's going on with Ruby, 8 passengers. That's what happened to them. I definitely want to know what you guys think in the comments below. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.